You can also use data visualization to examine patterns within the data. In this video, you will learn how to create visualizations that facilitate pattern analysis by focusing on clustering or grouping samples which share similar features. In this video, you will create visuals that focus on firms within your industry which met the ITEP definition, meaning that they reported positive pre-tax domestic income, but zero or negative domestic tax expense. We will create multiple visualizations to both teach you how to create additional visualizations in Power BI and to illustrate important principles of creating effective data visualizations that are espoused by Nassenbaumer-Knaflic in her book, Storytelling with Data. Before we begin, save your Power BI workflow by clicking on the Save icon in the upper left-hand corner or using your keyboard shortcuts. Duplicate the visualization we created for our company. Rename this visualization to ITEP year equals true ITEP ETR. Click on the visualization and expand the Filters menu. Remove the Firm ID filter from the visualization. Expand the Fields menu and the Fields list. Let's add a filter for ITEP year to this visualization. We can make this visualization more useful. Expand your visualization menu and change the visualization type to table. Next, let's identify all of the companies in our industry which had an ITEP year equal to 1. Drag the name field to the columns, placing it between the tax year and the GAAP effective tax rate. Since we're focusing on ITEP year, let's remove the GAAP effective tax rate. And let's change the data from average ITEP effective tax rate to don't summarize. We can then minimize the menus so that we can see our table a little bit better. Notice the table defaults to sorting by the first column, in our case the tax year, but you can click on any of the table headings to change the sorting of the table. In my case, I'm going to use an alphabetical sorting. This visualization is a starting point for our pattern analysis. While we may be used to processing data in tabular format, this table can be overwhelming for pattern analysis. As you can see, there's a large number of firms which met the ITEP definition, even in my limited sample of Industry C. Thus, the next step will be to find some way to limit the data to a relevant group of firms so that we can make comparisons. For now, I will demonstrate this process by selecting the firms alphabetically. After this video, you will be tasked with creating and analyzing the data any way you see fit. During this process, consider how you would like to group the firms within your industry for effective analysis and data visualizations. Let's begin by duplicating our ITEP year visualization that we just created and renaming this page with Industry C and Amoresco ITEP ETR by tax year for firms which have at least one ITEP year equal to true. Click on the visualization, expand your filters, your visualization, your fields, and your field list. You may have noticed that as we add fields to our visualizations, they are also automatically added to the filters on this visual options. Click the down arrow to expand the name list. And again, I'm going to be demonstrating the process of grouping firms using the names alphabetically. You may choose a different method. I'm selecting my firm plus 5 other industry firms. Next, I'm going to remove the ITEP year requirement so that I will see the ITEP effective tax rate for these firms across the entire sample period. Now that I've limited the data to particular firms, I can change the visualization back to a line chart. This doesn't look like the line charts that we've seen previously. That's because the ITEP effective tax rate is under small multiples so that we see a different chart for each of the companies. Click the ITEP effective tax rate and move it back up to the y-axis. We can leave the default as either sum or average because each company only has one ITEP effective tax rate in any given year. After building an appropriate intermediate visualization, don't forget to give it an appropriate title so that anybody using the chart could understand what's happening. You could then minimize all of your menus and take a better look at this visualization. This visualization is an intermediate point for our pattern analysis. Now that we have narrowed down the number of firms in our visualization to a relevant comparison group, we can follow Nassenbaum-Knaflach's guidance to use color to improve the visualization of important observations. For this analysis, we want to compare our firm to firms that also had an ITEP year at some point in our industry. In this specific case, the other firms' line charts are not important except as a comparison group. Let's begin by duplicating the most recent visualization we created and renaming this, adding the word color shift to the front of it so that we know that this is the final visualization, which includes the recommendation to use color effectively. Click on the visualization and then expand each of our menus. Under the Format Your Visual menu, scroll down until you find the colors of each of the lines. Shift the color of all of the comparison firms to a light gray. As you can see, once you select a color, Power BI makes it easy to keep that color by putting it into your recent color list. Adjust the color for your firm to a light blue to help it stand out on the visualization. While this visualization can be the ending point for your pattern analysis, one particular challenge that's apparent in our visualization is that there's an extreme ITEP effective tax rate on the visualization. You can always use the formatting options to change the scale of the y-axis from auto to a scale that makes more sense for highlighting the differences across firms. Good job! You have now learned how to create effective visualizations using Power BI. These videos provide you with a good start to creating visualizations that will help facilitate understanding about how profitable firms may report zero or negative tax expense. Additionally, you could create visualizations that help highlight the differences that arise when we use different definitions of effective tax rates. Beyond informing your own understanding, data visualizations are effective at helping you communicate information with interested parties. Use the skills learned from these videos to create visualizations, answer the questions, and create an effective communication about your understanding of how profitable firms may report zero or negative tax expense. We look forward to seeing your insights.